Hi, welcome to Luxury in Moderation, where we appreciate the finer things in life without going overboard. Today is all going to be about reseller shopping in Singapore, and there's quite a lot of those reseller shops. So I wanted to share all of my experiences at all of the different shops and what I was looking for and that I was successful. So if you're new here, welcome. My name's Joanne and I love to talk about all things luxury. So if you like this kind of content, please remember to like and subscribe to this channel. Now, I knew that there were a lot of shops in Singapore that did reselling of Hermes bags and other luxury brands, but I didn't realize how many there were. All you have to do is go to Orchard Road in Singapore and search Hermes, and about 20 different shops pop up. Only 2 of those shops are run by Hermes. The rest are all these kinds of different reseller shops, and I was looking forward to visiting a lot of them because I was really looking for a mini Lindy. In December of 2021, I actually already visited a couple of reseller shops in Singapore, and I thought one was really nice, had really great quality bags, and another one didn't look very nice. It didn't have all the furnishings of a real store, and so I knew that I would like to go back to the first one and also try out some other shops. The last time I went to those stores, I just wanted to try on a bunch of different quota bags, but this time my target was a mini Lindy, and I gave myself guidelines to stick to, which I think really helped in my search. Because, once you get to one of these reseller stores, there could be so many options that you kind of either go crazy or you get really confused. So these were the parameters that I set for myself. First, there were budgetary parameters. A mini Lindy retailed for $6,650 last year, but I knew I wouldn't be able to get a mini Lindy at retail price because they are so popular, but I still wanted to set a budget for myself. So I did some calculations, and for me, if I were to purchase in my home city, the mini Lindy plus tax would be around $7,200 USD, and that equals to about 9,000 Singapore dollars. I knew that I did not want to spend more than $9,000 or 12,000 Singapore dollars, and so that was my price range as I went into the stores. I didn't know what to expect in terms of reseller pricing yet, but that was what I was initially thinking. I also wanted to look for something in a color. I do have all my neutrals. You can see that most of my bags here aren't too colorful, but I thought for a mini Lindy with such a small size that I could do something a little bit more colorful. And I knew that with my price point, I would have to have a pre-loved bag, which I'm fine with because personally, I don't mind having a secondhand bag. I really mind when people are trying to play the game and buy a brand new bag and then resell it as brand new, because that just increases the price for everyone who wants to have a lovely bag. And so I am actually not really into buying brand new bags in the secondhand market. So the first store that I went to was called Luxe Maison, and this was such a blatant secondhand store because it was on the first floor of a big luxury mall, and there were tons of brand new Birkins, Kellys, special editions all lined up in the window. I was actually very surprised that they were so open about it. I thought that reselling or secondhand selling of specifically Hermes branded bags was to be a little bit hush-hush or not so, in your face. But this shop was not afraid to be seen as a destination for reselling Hermes bags. In fact, when I was there looking at mini Lindys, another woman came in with big orange bags trying to sell a brand new, I think it was a Kelly. Now, who knows if she actually wore these and those were pre-loved bags, but it did seem like they were brand new from the store. And again, these are the types of people that drive up the prices for everyone else. They want to either make money themselves by flipping it on the secondhand market, or I don't know what they want to do. Anyways, I discovered in this store that a new mini Lindy, so not pre-loved, but brand new with all the stickers and everything, would cost around 16,500 Singaporean dollars, which equates to about 12,380 USD. So that's almost double the retail price. So that just gave me my first sense of how much the mini Lindy goes on in the secondhand market brand new. I did really love one of the bags that I tried on there though. It was a deep blue, almost like a jean colored with gold hardware. So that also allowed me to try on just different colors and see what I liked. The second store I visited was called Ruelamode. And this is the store that I had visited 2 years prior. So I knew that they were a good reputation, that I felt safe purchasing from them. Unfortunately, they only had 2 mini Lindys and one was in a very bright orange color, which I knew I didn't want, and it also had a similar price point. So now I was starting to see that the going price for a mini Lindy in new condition on the secondhand market was approximately 16,000 Singapore dollars. Even though they didn't have a lot of mini Lindys in stock, I did see and try on a canvas Picotin, which I really appreciated, and I do think that bag is really interesting. The third store I stopped at is called LuxLexicon. It had the most bags I had ever seen, but it was the least nice store. I'll show pictures of the photos I took, but all of these you can search for yourself on Google Maps and they proudly post photos of their store. Most of them also have Instagram pages, so you can follow them if you're interested. It was the least nice store because you could see their shelving was just kind of like cheap glass, and they were packing all the bags in kind of like sardines, you know, right up against each other. Now, of course, this meant that they had all kinds of inventory from brand new bags to pre-loved and secondhand. So there was definitely a large selection. I did try on a bright pink mini Lindy, and I very seriously considered it because it was also within my price point. It was pre-loved, I believe. It was actually, you know, there were certain conditions about it that you could definitely tell that it had been used before. But I think my main issue with it is that it had silver hardware. And from the blue jean bag that I had tried on before that had gold hardware, I was really kind of set on wanting gold hardware. So even though I seriously contemplated getting this bright pink mini Lindy, I said I would think about it, and I wanted to do some more searching before I paid for that. The fourth store I visited is called Eclaire Atelier, and I heard of this one from Mel in Melbourne here on YouTube. She said she's purchased from them a lot. They've even done a lot of sourcing of Hermes bags for her, so I was pretty excited to visit this store. Unfortunately, I was very disappointed when I got there. The store was quite sparse in terms of inventory. There just weren't a lot of bags at all to see or try on. And they had only 2 mini Lindys. One was in a taupe color, which I wasn't interested in because I already have my taupe Birkin. When I was there, another girl came in and did purchase that bag though. So of course I knew that that bag was going to be very popular. Probably wouldn't have stayed at the store very long anyways. Then the other mini Lindy that I saw was a light pink one, almost like a sakura pink. I didn't seriously consider it because I didn't want such a light bag, but even worse, I noticed that there were red stains all over the leather. So I don't know if it came from the glazing on the edges, but there were just dark pinkish red stains on the leather where the handles met the glue of the bag or like close to the side of the bag, and it was in more than one places. So I was pretty shocked at the quality of this mini Lindy. I was like, first of all, how did they let that out of the store? And second of all, how is this store, which is supposed to be reputable, trying to sell that as well, and at a very high price point? It was supposed to be in brand new condition, but honestly, I don't know how they're gonna sell that bag. Now, I think I went to a couple more retail stores just because like in one mall, there's about 3 or 4 different reseller shops all in one mall. And then if you go across the street to the next mall next door, there's about 2 or 3 more. So there's quite a lot to choose from. But eventually I found through, Googling, this store that I did end up purchasing from, which is called Ginza Xiaoma. And I first found this, again, like I said, as I was just Googling on Google Maps for Hermes resellers. I noticed that they were a Japanese store, so they originated in Japan. I think they have 2 store locations in Japan, and this was their first store location in Singapore. So I felt pretty safe about that because Japanese resellers do have the best reputation. They obviously are very hard on fakes, and I think they're very highly regulated. So I did feel safe purchasing from a Japanese store. And then this store was located inside the mall called Nian City. It's not in the normal mall floors, which is like 1 through 5. You actually have to go on one of the central elevators to level 23. And that's where kind of like the corporate offices are, or, just levels for offices. But it did seem like an official store. There was already a lady and her whole family trying on Kelly's when I got there, and I was able to find a mini Lindy that was within my price range with gold hardware in a color that I love, and it also had the full package. So it came with the original box, receipts, and dust bags. So in my next video, I'm going to reveal that mini Lindy. So make sure you stay tuned for that. And I just wanted to share some interesting, helpful tips as I learned during this reseller shopping trip in Singapore. First is that some of the bags will have tax and some of them will not. My bag did not have a Singapore tax for it because when I asked, the sales lady explained that my bag originated outside of Singapore. So my bag came from China. And so therefore, when they were reselling the bag in Singapore, they were not going to charge me Singaporean tax. Now, on other bags that this reseller had, they did include Singapore tax, and that's probably because that those bags originated from Singapore. So it really depends on where your bag comes from. And as I explained in one of my previous videos, if you purchase with a foreign passport in Singapore, you do get tax back, and it's about 6%. So just make sure you have your passport, and then you can get that tax back at the airport. The second thing I noticed was that everywhere I went, they had try-on gloves for me to put on before I actually touched the bag. Hermes started doing this. I know in August of last year when I went to Hermes in New York, they had me put on cloth gloves so I couldn't touch the bag, and now it seems like all of the resellers are doing the same. Most of the stores that I went to did have plastic gloves for me to put on, so it's kind of hard to feel the texture of the bag that you're trying to buy, but I guess it's a safety issue. I don't know if they're just trying to preserve the quality of the leather or the condition of the bag. The store that I purchased from was the only place that had cloth try-on gloves and not the plastic ones, so I ended up taking those home. So I just wanted to share my experience doing this reseller shopping in Singapore last December. I hope this was helpful or interesting. If you guys have any questions, please let me know, and stay tuned for the next video when I reveal the mini Lindy that I ended up with. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!